Welcome, Drink with James, episode 60. You might notice my casual attire. I have a rule, and that rule is I try to keep it pretty hard and fast, that I don't wear a suit above 92 degrees. So it's going to be 95 today in Manhattan, hence the polo shirt. So yeah, I think we probably do like no suit Drink with James. Maybe happens like twice a year, and I think it's usually right around this time. The last one, I don't know if you guys, you would have to be longtime viewers to remember, was I believe our air conditioning was broken in the office, and it was like 100 degrees in here. It was a fucking nightmare. I'm alone again. No JC, no Rich, just me, a glass of whiskey, and no air conditioning. That's why I'm not in a suit, because it is 88 degrees in our office currently. Our AC is broken. We're sweating it out for you guys. I'm still drinking whiskey. And if you don't think that's a feat, I fucking dare any of you to walk outside in 88 degree weather and drink damn whiskey at 4 in the afternoon. I doubt you could. This has been a crazy, crazy week. So Grace, I don't know if you guys know the inner workings of Fohr all that well, but Grace, who manages the campaign side of the business, she was out of town. So I was like, Grace, you do so much for us. I'll do your job for a week. Like, it's totally fine. So I've been doing Grace's job for a week, which is fucking terrible. I much prefer my job. But it's been busy. We're going to Hawaii next week with Armani. So I'm sure y'all will be seeing a lot of stuff coming out of there. The influencers are joining us on Wednesday, so we're super excited about that. And we're going to film a Drink with James while we're out there. So the next one is I'm going to be in like a grass skirt or something. Unfortunately, Tim can't join us. We didn't have budget for it, but we're pitching with someone. So don't worry, the videos will keep coming, but we're going to be in a much different location next week. Let's jump into questions. So I talk a lot about consistency. How do you make sure consistency doesn't equal boring? I guess step one would be to not be boring or start with a boring premise. But even that, it's true. I mean, if you're just doing the same thing over and over again, it can get a little boring. I think it's about a consistency of I mean, I guess, wait, let me step back. It depends what you're consistent on. If you're consistent as far as a look and feel, color palette, and a composition, and you're compositionally consistent, then it shouldn't be boring because you're going to be hopefully doing a lot of different new things, covering a lot of different stuff in your feed, so it shouldn't be boring. Now, if you're consistent in just like, I just do this one thing, there is a chance that it honestly could get kind of boring. But again, it's on you to be able to take what is working and continue to push that. I think about like some of the like outdoor adventure photographers and stuff I follow. Like, yeah, every single photo is like them out climbing a mountain or jumping in a lake, but like they're always doing it in new places, and that makes it kind of interesting. If people, if you're a style blogger, then like you're covering style, but your style should change a little bit, so like it shouldn't get stale. People should be able to follow you for years and not be like, okay, I feel like I'm seeing the same shit over and over again, so I'm going to unfollow. So that's on you to continue to evolve and pull things in new. Now, if you can't pull, like if your style or something's not evolving, you don't have that option, the other thing you can do is pulling new things into your feed. Let's say you're a fashion influencer and you start to do home goods, or you start to do food, or you start to do fitness. Things like that can kind of keep the feed fresh, and you can always experiment and try and pull new things in as time goes on. How do you stay consistent, color palette wise? So I've had a lot of people ask me this, like, I'm sure y'all follow Happily Gray, right? And her feed is very gray. And so people are like, how do I edit my photos to look like Happily Gray? But actually, I'd say 90% of the work is done in setting up the photo and making sure that if you have a certain tone that you're going for, that you're looking out for that tone when you're shooting. So it's not that, happily gray. It's not that she's just editing her photos in a certain way and she can take a photo in any, color in any kind of environment and have it match her feed exactly. It's that she's always kind of looking for those muted tones and shooting around those. And then, there's some desaturation and things that happen to make sure everything's matching exactly. But it starts by compositionally with the photo. Like 90% of the work should be done in camera, not in post-processing. And if you try and edit too much to match that, it won't look good. Now, yeah, I think, with photo editing, you can certainly, again, you can use it to tone down an image or tone up an image. There's also those really great accounts that are just super, super colorful. Again, you'll notice that they are shooting really colorful things and then they're editing it to kind of bring those colors up and saturate it a little bit more to match the feed exactly, but they start with things really colorful. So again, it goes back to, it's not really a photo editing tip as much as it is a consistency and compositional consistency is what you need to be able to have that really tight theme in your feed that looks really good. So yeah, I was at Formula E with Jaguar last weekend, which was really fun. Very hot day, but really fun. And I had to do 3 Instagrams and some Insta stories and things like that. And yeah, I haven't done anything like that in years, probably. And it's interesting. I mean, one, I think it's having not done it for a while, I realize how much better most people are at this than I am. In kind of building a story around the day and making it interesting. And I think especially on Insta stories, we just had an event with Sweet Green that was amazing. And their Insta story was really, really nice. They definitely stepped back, took the time after the event to put a story together and published it kind of all at once, and it was done instead of just more off the cuff, I'm filming this, I'm filming that. And so I think I probably could have been a little more deliberate in my stories, in understanding the kind of story I wanted to tell of the day and making sure that was kind of happening effectively. The other thing was that I tried to do something a little different. So I just bought a Polaroid camera. I bought an SX70 Polaroid camera recently. So I thought it would be kind of fun to take a 40-year-old camera in a really old photo format and go to a motorsports event and shoot that. Generally, you're shooting with professional cameras and the photographers have the huge lenses and everything. So that was kind of cool. Again, my idea was to try and show. I assumed there wouldn't be any other people there shooting with Polaroid, so it would instantly give me a way to be able to cover the event in a different way. I think, what else? The other thing was the client, they had a pretty clear idea of what they wanted caption-wise, which honestly I probably diverted from a little bit more than they would have liked, because the tone just didn't match what I wanted to do. And we chatted about it a little bit beforehand, but that is one of the difficult things about having a super tight brief when it comes to Instagram captions, and why a lot of times most influencers will not allow approvals on Instagram captions, because in that moment you want to be able to tell an authentic, real story. And I left that day, and I did this post, and Tim can throw it up, but I left that day feeling remembering being a kid and owning this go-kart and wanting to be a race car driver, and I felt like I wanted to tell that story more than I wanted to just say the kind of canned normal caption that I could have said of oh, such a fun day, blah blah blah, watching the future of motorsports with Jaguar racing. Not that that's the caption they wanted me to use, but my feeling was strengthened that you need to give influencers space to be able to do what they do really well, and the feeling that if a caption seems too sponsored, it's not going to be effective. And again, I'm not saying Jaguar was asking me to do these very sponsored sounding captions, but really important for you, I think, as an influencer, to think about those captions when they send through like suggested language, think about it beforehand and say like, is this something that I'm going to be comfortable saying when I have to post it, or do I know that I'm going to be posting this and say like, oh, this doesn't feel like me, this feels really inauthentic? And if that's the case, talk to the brand ahead of time and say, you know what, I actually generally tell stories more in my captions and they're a little bit longer, and so I'd like the ability to do that. Would that be okay with you? Because you could write a really authentic caption and feel really great about it, but if the brand doesn't feel good about it, doesn't feel like you hit their key messaging, then they're going to be upset, and then you're going to have to delete it, and you have a whole problem. So really look at what they want you to do, think about it, imagine yourself posting that and how you're going to feel, and have that conversation with the brand beforehand. I think that's super important.
When's your next influencer campaign?
You know, I just got some La Mer. I think I need to post a sponsored La Mer post. They've been a great client of ours. We've done a lot of work with them. And their moisturizer is literally like manna from God. It's incredible. And I will do anything. I will tattoo #sponsored and #La Mer partner on my arm if it means that I can continue to get La Mer from them. So that's the next one. We're going to try and do something interesting. I think I'm going to do something in Hawaii. So keep an eye out for that. And with that, yeah, I have a lot to do before we leave, and not a huge amount of time to do it, so I'm going to bid you adieu, and I will see you in Hawaii.